If you are a single foreign employee working in France, or you will be, here is a simple way to figure out your income tax and see how much you will really keep after taxes. So let's take an example right now. Let's say your revenue is 25,000 before taxes. Okay, so net salary before taxes is 25,000. First, you have to understand that French fiscal system allow you to deduct 10% of your tax revenue. Let's say because you have like fees and fuel to go to your place, to go to your work, you have to put some fuel into your car, you have to buy your own meals, etc. So tax government allow you to remove 10% of your total net salary before tax. In this case, if your total salary before taxes is 25,000, you can remove from this one 2,500 euros, and the new number, the new amount, the 22,500 euros is the one that will be taxed into the French progressive tax system. Now that you have this really taxed income, you will have to understand the system that is the following. As you will see on the screen, there are different layers, and these layers are the progressive tax system from French government. And these are like brackets, layers, or you can see it as brackets if you want. And your revenue will be taxed in each of these brackets depending on how much is your total salary. For example, with the 25,000, you will be taxed in the first bracket as it goes to 11,597 euros, and you will also be taxed in the second bracket. Why? Because as you make this amount of money, 25,000, or to be more accurate, 22,500 euros revenue, it goes into these brackets because this bracket's limit is 29,315 euros. So you will be taxed in the first layer and in the second layer as the following. As we previously determined that your tax income will be 22,500 in these examples, this amount will be fully submit to the first layer, to the first bracket part. Why? Because this bracket goes from 0 to 11,497 euro. And as your revenue is above this amount, you will be full charged in this bracket. But as you're lucky, this bracket is charged at a 0% tax rate. Great. Now, as your total tax income is 22,500 euros, it's time to go into the second bracket, because this is the bracket that goes from 11,498 euros to 29,315 euros. And as 22,500 is less than the 29,315, you are fully charged in this bracket. How? Easy. You take your taxed income, the 22,500, minus the first limit of the bracket, the 11,498, and this gives you, if you make the math, 11,002 euros. And you have to understand that this is specifically this part that will be charged into the second bracket, second layer if you prefer, at the rate of 11% tax. And if you do the math, I mean 11,002 euros times 11%, you will be charged in this bracket for 1,210 euros. And now you have your total taxed amount by just summing, making the sum of the first bracket and the second bracket. And as you were charged at 0% in the first bracket, you had €0 to pay in this bracket. 0 plus 1,210 euros gives you 1,210 euros of tax. Now, if you just clear the number and take another salary example, let's say you made 50,000 of salary for a whole year of work. As you can remember, tax government will authorize you to remove 10% of this amount because it considers that you have fuel to put in your car, you have meals to buy because you work outside of your house and all that stuff. You remove first the 10%. 10% off is 5,000. So your taxed income, the one that will be taxed, is right now 45,000 euros. And finally, and going faster, you take this amount and you take it through each brackets for which this amount is concerned. First, the first bracket, then the second bracket, and finally you go into the number 3, the third bracket. Why? Why the third bracket? Because as you can see, your tax income is 45,000 euros, and the third bracket is going from 29,316 euros to 83,823 euros. And as your tax income is less than this limit of 83,000, you will be charged finally into this third bracket. And as the math are just down onto the screen, you can see that you take into this bracket your 45,000 euros minus the first limit of the bracket, the 29,316, and this gives you 15,684 euros that will be taxed at the rate of 30%. Why 30%? Because this is the rate, the tax rate that comes with the third brackets. And in these brackets, you will be finally charged 4,705 euros plus the amount you were supposed to be charged into the second bracket, the 1,959 euros, plus the amount you were charged in the first bracket. Remember, the first bracket is 0 euros. When you add this up, you have your total tax income. And finally, you will be just taking home the difference, I mean the tax income that is 45,000 minus the total amount of tax you have to give to the government. So that's it. That's how you, as a foreign single employee in France, can figure out your income tax and know what you will really take home.